overreaction time here on 120 Sports. Will Edwin Encarnacion lead the Indians to a World Series title? The Indians and Encarnacion agreed to a 3-year deal with an option for a fourth. The deal reportedly worth $20 million annually. So, Dylan, I do ask you that same question. Is Cleveland now the front runner to win the World Series with this new move?
Not the front runner, no. Not in my opinion. I think they are my front runners to win the pennant.
Okay.
I just have a hard time knocking the Cubs out of that circle. I think there's a chance that the Cubs could be an even better team and use their experience from last year of getting all the way to the Fall Classic and beating this very, very good Indians team. I think to me, it's going to be hard to knock the Cubs out of that. As far as when you look at the Tribe, I love their chances to repeat as American League pennant winners and get back to the Fall Classic. You're looking at a team that got there despite major injuries to what I think is their greatest strength, their pitching staff. So, when you take Carrasco, who I think is their most talented stuff-wise pitcher, and Danny Salazar down the stretch, look what Salazar meant to the Indians in the first half of the season. Some people thought he was the first half Cy Young in the American League. You add those two guys, along with Kluber and Tomlin, to the top of that rotation. Hopefully a healthy Michael Brantley, as the one tweet suggested. And then Edwin Encarnacion to go along with a full season with Andrew Miller. They're my pick to win the AL Central and to win the entire American League. I think they have, a couple teams to look out at, maybe Boston, maybe Texas. But certainly, I think when you look in that American League Central Division, they have everything you want, every bit of the recipe. They have pitching. They have a lineup that has power throughout the middle. They have great table setters as well and speed where you need it. And they've got a tremendous bullpen. So when you have those three facets, I think they're the most complete team in the American League. I'm just not ready to say that they're going to be World Series champs, because to me that is still the Cubs. They're the favorites.
Obviously, when you go to the World Series and go to a Game 7, then you get a big acquisition like Encarnacion. Everybody's going to put you right back there, might say you should win it. I just wonder, though, they lose a guy like Mike Napoli, and he was a free agent, and he was huge for them last year, had a career year, 30-plus home runs. Do you gain a ton from Edwin Encarnacion because you lose the production from a Mike Napoli?
Yeah, and that's a great point. I think you're going to, numbers-wise, they're very similar type players. They're not a guy that's going to go first to third a lot. They're not a lot of triples, not a lot of steals when you're talking Encarnacion or Mike Napoli, but they are thump. They're all
Absolutely.
RBIs and home runs in the middle of that lineup. I think what the Indians are hoping is to, look, we've got a team that was the best in the American League and went to extra innings of Game 7 of the World Series. Let's try to replicate that formula and hope we have great health in our pitching staff, which we didn't down the stretch in our most important games. How do we replicate that formula while losing Napoli? Let's get another guy that from the right-hand side can really provide power and be a run producer, be a guy that drives in runs. Well, Encarnacion is a very good fit to replace Napoli, and a lot of people's projections looking at it, maybe even uptick. When you look at the RBIs, when you look at the home runs, with what Encarnacion's been able to do over the last 3 years, 34, 39, 42 home runs last year, maybe even just a slight uptick from what you get from Napoli, you follow that same formula, and you go right back to the Fall Classic. That's what the Indians are hoping.
Encarnacion last year as well, 127 RBIs. That was a career high for him. That was tied for first in the